Kala Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Brakatahal Brakatahal Shai Brakatahal Brakatahal Shai Brakatahal Brakatahal Shai the water of Abal called Kadash. I'd like to give up honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone that teach this truth that we know is 100% truth, true word of our Lord. I want to start off in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and it goes into how women are supposed to conduct themselves in the church. And we know the Lord doesn't reside in buildings made by man's hands. The church, the building structure itself is not what the Lord resides in anymore. He's everywhere. We are the church. We are the building. So let's say 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 32. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. So the spirit that teaches this Bible, these dark sayings, is subject to the prophets, the men of the Lord. So we prophesy the words and the teachings of our Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Verse 33, for Yahweh is not the author of confusion, of peace, as in all churches of the saints. So a lot of Paul writings, you hear people get Paul pretty much confused, Apostle Paul, because some of his writings kind of orthodox to a lot of the other parts of the Bible what has been preaching, and so a lot of it's kind of hard to be understood, and especially when you go into where it's talking about when talking about Gentiles, that's a main stumbling block that a lot of people have a problem with. That's the first thing they revert to when these so-called Christian people want to go against the truth. They revert to Paul, but they get everything out of context when it's talking about the Gentiles. Because we understand the Gentiles, there are two sets of Gentiles. They're just Gentiles, those who are not of Israel, of the 12 tribes. And then there's the Israelite foreigners who became Gentiles. They still, through the blood, they are Israel. But they are Gentiles, by the way they conduct themselves, how they act. Because they act like the Gentiles until they brought back in to be an Israelite, if that makes any sense. But that's what it is. Verse 34, this is what I was getting to. Let your women keep silence in the churches. It is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be up under obedience, as also saith the law. So it's telling you that's a law, that the women should keep silent in the churches, and we know today, and that's what Paul had to go to the church of Corinth back then. They were still doing the same thing. They were going off. A lot of the women were leading the congregation. They were leading the churches. They were a big voice in the church. And we know that women, they're deprived of wisdom, and they're not supposed to be leading the church. They're not supposed to be trying to break down the Bible and these things of understanding, the true word of the Lord. Nowhere in the Bible do you see where the Lord really dealt with the women like that on that level. It's always been through the men. And you have different women in the Bible that had certain positions and parts in the Bible, not to take anything from that, but that's not their purpose to be out there leading the church, man, leading the congregation. She has a specific role that she plays within the church, the body of the church, man. And to be a lead, that's not it. That's going off. Verse 35, and if they learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church. So these women are out here, they have husbands, they're out here going to these church houses. When you see it a lot of time, big time here in Babylon the Great, man. And these women have men, but yet they out there listening to these pastors, man. And we know these pastors, how they get down. A lot of them, they're just nothing but they're wolves in sheep's clothing. And let me go to that. Let me find that real quick. Bear with me for a second. Turn the brightness up on it so I can see. Always go down. 2 Timothy chapter 2, 3, and 6. 2 Timothy chapter 2. Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua. No man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. Well, that's not exactly what I was looking for. Okay, verse 6 and 7. That's not what I'm looking for. Second Timothy chapter 3, Shalakia. First Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. Having the form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. Verse 6. For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. Verse 7. Even learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. And it tells you right there, man, you see these church houses, they are full, they stack high with these women, man. Silly women, that's what the Lord described them as. Because they come in there for that itching ear, man, with that itching ear to get their ears tickled, man. They like to hear smooth words. The pastors, they are very good orators. They speak very well. They have smooth words. And it's almost enchanting to these women, man. They go there, and most of the women, they're totally either self-defenseless to these pastors, man. And they see him driving a nice car, he got a nice gold rings and jewelry and the whole nine, man. Really a church house pimp. And these women fall for it because he's charismatic, Same thing, any man that's charismatic, he speaks well and he dresses well and he holds himself in high authority, man. Women, they melt for those type of dudes, man. That same way that damn President Obama got in, when he got in office, man. Goddamn, the black women was crazy, crazy about Obama, man. You still can't tell them shit about Obama to this day because he's charismatic, he got no smooth words. He say things, almost like poetry when he speaks to them. And they melt to that. And these pastors prey on that, man. That's why you find a lot of these churches now, you find that the women run these churches, man. And if the pastor doesn't say or do things that they want according to how these women want it done, they'll vote him out of the church. He will not be leading those churches if these women, they get together because they run a board that supports, that do all the building funds, that do all the tithing. They handle all that, They secretary of the churches and they run these churches, man. They run these pastors, so these pastors got to do according to them, but same time they getting played by these pastors, so they have itching ears. The pastors tell them what the hell they want, and then they bring in these vulnerable people, man, and he just, he preys on them. Like, let me pull that scripture. Let's drop down to verse 3. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. And we know a lot of these so-called church leaders, man, a lot of them they're totally wicked, man. Not only just sleeping with the women, married women at that, It's not the fact that he's sleeping with other women. It's the fact that he's sleeping with other married women, because these women have men at home. They go to the church to receive, supposed to be receive the word, and they get preyed upon, man, by these pastors and their what they call them guys, bishops, the guys that work in the church, um, deacons. Yeah, they get ran through. A lot of those women do, man. A lot of those women usually be street women. They done ran the streets to the wheels about fall off, and then they all flee to the church house, man. And then they poke and they look down their nose at the other women who come up under them, who up under them that's doing the same thing that they did, instead of them trying to teach these women how to be wives, how to be caring for their kids, and women that keepers at home, doing what women supposed to do. But no, they don't do that. They all jockeying for positions inside of these church houses, man. That's why you see a lot of them coming to these church houses dressed in revealing, clothes that are revealing, clothes that's not suitable to be around other men, the breasts all exposed, short skirts on, tight fitting, and they call themselves, supposed to be sanctified women. But let me pull this up real quick. Oh, that was First Corinthians. No, we're going to the book of Isaiah. Kind of going through the spirit right now. Isaiah chapter 3. And this is our women today. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children and their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. And you see that today, man. The women, like say, they lead the church. A lot of these job sites you go to, a lot of these women are in a position over the men. Especially you go to some of these warehouse jobs, who do they put to be a lot of the supervisors or run a lot of these positions, or places where because I drove trucks for a while, and you go in there, you have to turn in your paperwork and get it done, and they send an order out to get your truck offloaded, man. A lot of times these women in those positions, and they handle that. They handle the warehouses, man. And Esau Edom knows that Eve, she's going to be with him through thick and thin, man. She's going to manage that warehouse like it's hers, looking out for her master. And so that's why he put her in those positions. And it gives that woman a sense of authority of being over the man. And the worst thing you can do is give somebody who's a weakling, and you give them a power position, and then they take that and they run with it, man. They what's that called? Like you see some cops, man, that used to be like get bullied on in school, but as soon as you put a badge on them, when they grow up, they become the bully, because they got that authority. And that's a lot of women, man, because they've been in a low position, then you put authority on them, man. That's the last thing you want to do, man, because they take it, it blows the head up, and them being over men, they want men to kiss their ass in order to get things done. I've seen it, a lot of times. You go to drop your, bring your truck in to get it offloaded, and these women down there, you got one guy down there got to kiss up to them to get your damn truck offloaded, man. And especially in a lot of the warehouses, I can imagine working in the warehouses up under these women, man. They got to be hell, because they create disorder. They create all type of division. If they got men on them that men don't want to be with them, they're gonna make his life a holy hell. I've seen that happen, a lot of times. It's just all fucked up. But that's what Esau set it up to be. He put these women in these power seat positions over the man, That's why you find in the government, a lot of the women, they'll promote them to these top judges, top what they call them, public defenders, not public defenders, where they defend for the state. They yeah, I can't think of, like, what's the chick in Georgia, Fannie Willis, with her position. Let me see, I'll pull it up real quick. And it's nothing but total chaos, man. A lot of these Democrat cities, they put these female mayors in these positions, man, and these cities, nothing but chaos, man, nothing but a bunch of controversy and bullshit. And it's not to say Esau Edom when he's in no position. He do the same damn thing, but he can get away with it, man. They just put these women in these positions to be a damn scapegoat and to be over the man, to show that woman authority, man. And they promote that shit. They push it in the society to pump these women, these black women heads up, or these women of the tribes heads up over their men. Once a woman feel that she's over her man, she doesn't respect him the same way as being a man. She sees herself as not only being equal but being better than that man. District attorney, or a lot of time Commonwealth attorneys, where she is, Fannie Willis, and they put them in these positions, man. A lot of times they just use them, use them and run through them. They'll do Esau do a lot of his wickedness through these women, man. They just in that position. They'll throw them a little something on the side, but really they're just there. They like killing two birds with one stone, And these women play a lot right into it because they don't have that wisdom, man. Scripture tells us the Lord has deprived her of wisdom. Job chapter 39, verse 17. The book of Job 39, verse 17. This is the NIV version. For God, Yahweh, hath endowed her with wisdom, or give her a share of good sense. For God did not endow her, Shalak, for God did not endow her with wisdom or give her a share of good sense. And really, you think about it, majority of these women, they might go to school, they go to get their degrees and all that. Some will get master's degrees, so many degrees and all that. But still, their maturity level does not go past that of a 12-year-old, man. Because first of all, they're so emotional. They get caught into their emotions. They can't think past the emotional part of anything, not logically. I don't care how many degrees they have, they still don't go past that 12 to 14-year-old little girl, man. They can speak like they really have a lot of common sense, but a lot of times you see them, they really just talking in circles. And that, Kamala Harris, she's a perfect example of what a lot of women are. They might speak good, might speak eloquently, they use big words and all that. But really, you listen to what they're really saying, they nothing but a bunch of confusion, man. They're not logical thinkers, most of them, man. Be honest with you. The Lord didn't give her that. He didn't put her in that position to do that. Women had specifics that the Lord had created and put in them, man, especially our women. This is KJV version. Because God hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted her understanding. So, that's why she's supposed to always have a man over her. That's why the Lord didn't put hers to be head over no churches or running the churches and the church house and all that. They're not supposed to be a mayor of a city, running police departments and all these things. They put on captains, police, all over the place, man. And a whole lot of confusion, corruption, because that's not her position she's supposed to be, man. She's neglecting the position that she's supposed to be in. Help me to her man to help build her man up, which in turn is going to build up the nation. Doing what she's supposed to do, at home, maintaining the family, make sure her kids make it to the next level, man. Not sending the kids off to a damn daycare or babysitters or other people watching the kids, because you know all these women, we called what do you call it, women, high class women, that's making it out here, getting the bag or whatever. A lot of them, their kids go neglected, man. Just because you buying their kids, nice shit, nice clothes, and these things and putting them through school, but they're lacking in what they really need, man. Is being a good parent over that child, being at home and spending time with that child, getting to know your child. That's why a lot of these kids now, man, they get taken away, with a lot of things on social media because they have no true guide, man. They don't have a guide at home. Social media becomes their guide. That's why they're influenced by these Meg the Stallions, these Cardi B's and all that, because they don't have a mother at home to help guide them, man. Shalakia. So let me go back to Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Because the time is coming back, man. We seeing right now Esau Edom, man, is he's switching things up. You see, what is it, Spirit Airlines going out of business. A lot of those jobs at Spirit Airlines, man, most of them jobs, man, will probably work by women. Especially you go to Atlanta Hub, man, you see nothing but women working those positions at Spirit Airlines. And I think Atlanta's one of their main hubs. And the women work behind the desk, doing your tickets. A lot of them working out there on the runway, bringing the planes in. And so I think it was like 17, what is it? How many jobs are lost? 17,000 jobs, something like that. Might be more than that. But a lot of these women are losing these positions, these jobs, man. You already see that Trump is pulling back all these special gifts, like welfare and Section 8, Medicare, and all these things to these women that they rely on. And then yeah, it's getting real ugly for the women, man. But he done built them up to the point where they have turned their backs on their men, the ones that could have helped them in these times, So they done divorced the men, they done took the kids, and put the man on child support, They done became independent boss bitches and all that, and so they put themselves in a bad position. And that's why they find out now a lot of our men are turning their back on the women now. They say, hell with it, we can do it on our own. We don't need a woman. You go to the clubs now, they say you don't even see hardly any men in the clubs, It's more women in the clubs than there are men, Very few men come in there. What thing they have now what they call mixers, where they try to get a lot of people to come for dating and says there's number of women showing up, no men. Men's like saying, hell with it, man. It's not worth it to try to deal with these type of women, these modern day women, because you're going to lose in the end. They're going to take your ass to court one way or another when it's all said and done, because Esau Edom has already set her up. But now he's taking his hand off of her, man. He's leaving her out here to crash and burn. And she don't have her black men or her men of her nation to fall back on anymore, because they done become proud boss bitches, man. And that's why it leads us to Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. In that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Let's look at that word reproach. We're just going to do a simple Google search. Why is it doing it? What the fuck? Shalaki. Damn. I ain't never did this before. Expressing censor with contempt. How they give it to me in Thai? Reproach. Meaning search. Okay, here we go. To express disapproval or criticism of. So a lot of women, man, they don't take no accountability, man. Brothers have been trying to correct them here lately. And really start with GMS, man. Before then, man, really you never heard nobody that would hold a woman accountable. And I think once GMS came out there and let the cat out of the bag, now it's a big thing. They have what they call the red pill movement and passport brothers and a whole lot of other things. But all that started with what I believe through the spirit, through GMS. Once they started putting that truth out there, holding the mirror to these women and holding them accountable, and the word just kind of spread out. A lot of cats won't take it back to that and say where it first started from, but I remember seeing it when it first started coming out, man. 'Cause men would never approach women that way, tell them, why you in that position because you chose to got so many baby daddies because you always go out here and pick the wrong men because of your bad behavior because you don't follow the order that the Lord has set up, man. You're supposed to be up under a man. And that takes me back to what I was saying, a woman never graduate past the age of 12 or 14. That's why the Lord has always, like I said, deprived her of wisdom. So she should always have a man over her. That's starting off with her father at home, and then he hands her off to her husband. She's supposed to always have somebody over, a man over her at all times, because she's an emotional wreck when she's left out here to her own devices, man. She'll destroy her own self. And that's why the scripture tells us, man, give a woman liberty to get liberty to let me pull it up if I screw that up. Liberty. Together. Ecclesiastes chapter 25, verse 5. Sirach. I should remember that one. Ecclesiastes chapter 25, verse 5. No, that's not it. 25, verse 25. Give the water no passage, neither a woman to liberty to gad abroad. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, no, that's not what. But it's telling you to give a woman. Man, hold on. Give me the wrong precept. Give a woman no passage, neither wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. Let me see. Too much liberty, she destroy herself. '26 verse 10, next chapter. Verse 10, Ecclesiastes chapter 26 verse 10. If thy daughters be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. That means you can't let your daughters, have free reign. You find women now, they're all over the damn place, man, by themselves, without a man, without somebody over them. They call girl trips. They be doing girl nights out, boss bitches, doing shit all over, just our women is all over the map right now. And they are unrecognizable according to the Bible. According to Psalms 30, Proverbial 31 type women, man. They're unrecognizable. These modern day women, especially in Babylon the Great, that's where it starts off from. Now, you go travel different places around the world, you find, especially in Eastern countries, you find a lot of women still keep to the traditional ways of how women's supposed to be. But in Babylon the Great, man, like I said, that's that whore that sits upon many waters, man, and she's spreading her corruption all over. Anywhere you see how women go, they're gonna always bring that filthy lifestyle, man. That that degeneracy to wherever she goes. You find that in a lot of places, man, where you find Eve at. They out there twerking, revealing themselves, just doing all type of wicked shit. That's why I said, Lord said, give her no liberty to gather abroad, man. Let me go to, we're going to finish off in Isaiah, if I can find it. Prophet Isaiah chapter 30. Had a precept I wanted to bring to this lesson, but I can't think what it was right now. But yeah, we're in the time, man, and we're in a time of Jacob's trouble. Oh, there it is, chapter 32. We're in a time of Jacob's trouble, man. It started. And you can see these women now starting to get desperate because they see that they don't have these men to fall back on like they once had, One time, you like say, see a man really come down on a woman because, first thing I often heard, especially growing up, man, don't you ever put your hands on a woman. Don't you ever, always hurl them up to a high esteem, and that's how we're not supposed to be. We're supposed to hold them uh, accountable, for being women. We are the heads, man. We should be over the women. We're not supposed to give our strength unto a woman. And once, we look forward to the kingdom come, we're going to see then how these women are supposed to be, man. They're going to be shamefaced, They're supposed to carry themselves a certain way. Never not looking a man in the eye, straight in the eye, and just pretty much talking shit to them. Because like I said, man, we can easily break them down, with one hand, if we wanted to. But a lot of times, because we know Esau Edom, he done set rules in place that you can't correct the women, man. So when you think about correcting them, she even read on your mind, she calling 911, ain't gonna tell a lie on your ass. So, that's just how it is, man, in this society, man. Esau done got things, ran backwards, man. Like I say, he's opposite to what the Bible say how the world's supposed to be ran. That's why this devil's got to come out of his position. So Isaiah chapter 32, verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are ease, hear my voice. Ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. And they're careless, man. They all over the place, man. They have no safe holds, man. Like I said, the only thing that's holding them up is the government. And the government now is pulling the rug from underneath them. He's going to watch them fall because he's done with them. He done used them. He done got everything out on that he wanted. He done used them for bed wenches. He done used them to tear up the family, to destroy the men. Now he's done with them. He's moving on to the next phase, man. She done destroyed her whole family, man. She done destroyed her whole nation. And so now, said, you careless daughters, give ear to my speech. That's the prophecy. We've been warning these women, man. Come out of it. We're not against you. We're against, what you've become. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail. The gathering shall not come. Ain't nobody coming to save you. 911 is not coming to save you. Like I said, we in Jacob's trouble, man. Shit about to go downhill fast. And there's nobody going to be there that you can run to. And like I said, the men of the Lord, there's the one that's going to be taken care of during that time. They're not going to choose you because they're going to remember how you were, man. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. This is verse 11. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare. That's that Section 8 gone. That's them government jobs gone. That working at Spirit Airlines, those are gone. These warehouses jobs, they coming to an end. They're going to be gone. The grid sackcloth upon your and gird sackcloth upon your loins. That means she's going to be in travail. She's going to be crying out. She's going to be hurting. And it's going to be a time, man. Like I say, she's not going to have anybody there. Her white daddy, man, her white zaddy's gone. You know, he didn't use her. He didn't got her. He didn't got everything out of her. You know, he's done with her. So you know, we just have to hold on, brothers. Like I said, you know, when we go into the kingdom, these women going to be in their right mind. You know, the one thing that they have on their side, you so-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans, the women of our nation, is that when you get destroyed on this side, because you're going to be counted as a two-third, you get to come back again in the kingdom through the loins of the elect men. In that time, you're going to be in your right mind, in your right spirit. You're going to be like a woman's supposed to be. That proverbial 31 type woman, man, that the Lord spoke of. You're going to be, it's going to be okay to be up under a man during that time. You're going to understand then why the Lord set it up that way. Actually, you learn now why the Lord set it up that way, because that's part of the tribulation that you're going to have to deal with. Like I said, brothers, you just have to hold on, man. They're going to be right in the kingdom, man. They're going to be specifically perfected towards you. And it's not going to just be one woman. We're going to have access to many women, you know, many wives and many concubines. Because our main mission is not only to uphold these laws, statutes, commandments, because we're going to be judges over the earth, but we're going to have to populate the earth with our seed, you know. And that's now one woman is not going to be suffice for that. So we have women that's going to be virgins, not going to be have no couple, 2 or 3 baby daddies, not going to be ran through. They're going to be in subjection. They're going to be obedient. You know, they're going to be true women, man. And they're going to be blessed in the kingdom because they're going to have handmaids and servants up under them, man. They don't realize, you know, how good they're going to have it, how good they can have it now, man. But, you know, they chose to go the opposite way. They chose welfare over there, man. You know, we had our own, you know, during one time, you know, we had our own cities once we separated post-slavery and had our own cities. And, you know, we had our own bus lines, airlines. We were doing everything on our own. But like I said, they took the gifts from Esau, Edom, you know, and they broke up the home, you know. But it was all well orchestrated. The Lord set up that way anyhow, because we had to go through this part to understand why. So we know going into the kingdom why those laws, statutes, commandments have to stand, man. Why everything is laid out how it's supposed to be. A woman's supposed to be under a man. And Yahweh shot over that man, you know. Everything falls in order. You can't break order, man. You can't break the chain of command. That's how Lord set it up to be. But that's pretty much it, man. I'm going to close out here. Give my back a rest. And Lord wills, edifying with that, say shalom.